Hello and welcome to yet another episode of World of Brands. I have with me Mr. Mohan Wilson, Director, Marketing and Corporate Strategy, Nissan Motor India. Mohan, thank you very much for joining us on Republic TV.
Hi, Arnab. Thank you for having me here.
Wonderful.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Mohan, Nissan has been a legacy player across the globe, not just in India. But how has your story in India shaped through the years?
Well, Nissan has started, in fact, back in 1965. In 1965, we were the first international OEM who came to India. In fact, we signed an MOU with the Indian Army. And together, based on the iconic Nissan Patrol platform, we developed the Nissan Jonga. This was then an army war horse, which fought wars with the Indian Army for decades. And that's something we are very proud of.
Right. And over the years, how has your brand strategy changed? Can you take us through how has it evolved from then when Make in India was not so much of a buzzword to now where Making in India is the buzzword? How has your strategy evolved over the years?
Thank you. That's a good question. In fact, after the Jonga, we in fact entered the country first with CBU models in 2005. 2010 already, we were one of the OEMs who localized cars, manufactured, developed in India for other markets as well. We developed the Nissan Micra and the Sunny, and even today we export the Sunny to other markets as well. So India has been a strong footprint for us ever since then. In fact, now we have expanded our footprint. Now the Nissan Magnite we offer today in India. I'm very happy to say that this car is truly a global product now. Absolutely designed, developed for the Indian consumer audience. Very successful in the market. We have sold the cars around 2 lakh plus since inception. It's amazing what wonders this car has created in the market. Now exported to 65 markets globally.
Globally?
Yes, absolutely.
What's the difference? I mean, as someone who's been, spearheading the marketing operations of a global major, what is the difference between an Indian consumer and a global consumer? Can you tell me some of the highlights or some of the important traits of an Indian consumer?
Well, I would say the Indian consumer is highly demanding, and it's not easy for an OEM, but it's very interesting because the Indian consumer doesn't make any compromises. Very high in terms of aspiration, in terms of styling, in terms of features, in terms of safety, but also value proposition, which raises really the bar in terms of how a product has to be developed. At the same time, also the regulation will also drive additional elements into the development of a car. So when you develop a car in India, you're ready for the world. Because the Indian consumer is so demanding in terms of styling, in terms of competitiveness, in terms of features, safety. And all of that, in fact, in the Nissan Magnite we're offering. And that's something which really standing out. The Nissan Magnite is in fact now has got the global NCAP 5-star rating, which makes it a really interesting
and it's a 100% made in India product.
Yes, absolutely. 100% made in India, around the Indian consumer mindset. And of course now developed and exported also across the world in 65 markets.
Wonderful. What are the plans as far as Indian market is concerned over the next foreseeable future, let's say about a year, 5 years from now?
We are at an exciting phase, and I'm really excited about talking the future because that's what we are looking forward to. And in less than 15 months approximately, you see 3 new models coming from Nissan. Today we have the Magnite. It's really a defying ordinary product in the marketplace, the Nissan Magnite. In approximately 15 months, you will see 3 more cars coming. One is the B MPV, which is coming early next year. In fact, in Q4 financial year FY25. Followed by 6 months later, in summer next year, we'll have the C SUV 5-seater. Very interesting product, really appealing in terms of styling, in terms of tech, in terms of performance. Followed another 6 months later by a C SUV 7-seater. Again, completely different product, unique styling, unique technology, really interesting.
What are the kind of segments that you're targeting with these vehicles?
When we talk about segments, we're getting into the core mainstream segment in India, which is essentially B SUV, B MPV, but also the C SUV segment. Especially the C SUV segment, that's something we have been not there in the last couple of years. Now we're coming in with 2 new cars, which are the C SUV models coming in the next 15 months.
Could you tell us about what variants they would be? Will they have the diesel powertrains?
In terms of green technologies, we are focusing more towards petrol at this stage. Petrol. Today in the Magnite, we're offering petrol, and we're also offering government-approved CNG retrofit kit. So diesel demand at this stage, we are not following. We are focusing more towards petrol and CNG retrofit.
Okay, any particular reason behind focusing on petrol? I will come to the larger question of EVs and the whole green energy aspect of it. But then, any particular reason why you're focusing only on petrol?
The largest consumer demand today in India is on petrol.
Okay.
That's essentially the main market in the TIV today.
Okay.
So hence, our main focus is on petrol.
Okay.
Followed by alternative solutions. For example, CNG is one step. We're also studying very carefully about alternative electrified solutions as well.
Okay.
Nissan globally has the expertise in terms of mild hybrid, e-power, and also fully electrified BEV solutions as well.
Correct.
So we have multiple solutions. When the time is right, that's the time to enter.
Would you like to elaborate upon what are your EV plans?
In terms of EV, that's a good question. We have strong capabilities and experience in electric vehicles globally. We launched with the Nissan Leaf, the first World Series mass manufactured car, which was the Nissan Leaf, which is the first EV across markets. We have the opportunity to bring EVs, of course, to market, but at this stage, we are focusing more about 95%, 96% of the passenger car market, which is really around petrol mainly.
Okay.
EVs, we are carefully studying. We have solutions, we have skill sets, we have the expertise. When the time is right, I would say, we'll of course bring cars to the market as well.
Okay, this is something I want to ask you as a marketing professional, not necessary as a Nissan official. That what do you think are some of the challenges or roadblocks in terms of complete acceptance of EVs in the country?
Well, for EV acceptance, a couple of things. A is accessibility in terms of price. B in terms of the features. C in terms of the range anxiety. Of course, charging infrastructure is very important. We of course cherish and welcome the initiatives by the government in further fueling the electrification story in the country.
Okay.
Of course, charging infrastructure or network is important for an average consumer to really have the acceptance in terms of electrified cars.
Correct.
And of course, the accessibility in terms of the price as well.
Do you see a timeline where the world would probably just run completely on EVs and not on conventional fuel?
I would say it will be a hybrid. It will be a combination of petrol,
okay,
hybrid solutions, and EVs. I wouldn't say it would be only EVs. It would be a combination of across multiple markets. And that's the trend we can see currently across multiple markets. You will see the same trend in India as well. There'll be always a place for petrol. There'll be always a place for electrified hybrid solutions, and of course for electric cars as well.
Okay. You've always come to India. Nissan as such has come to India at a time when there was no thrust upon made in India. But that times have changed. There's so much impetus already being given to making in India, and we've already talked about that. But now that you've already done that, now that you've already been making in India, how does it align with how do your manufacturing plans and growth plans align with the larger Make in India or the India shining story over the next about foreseeable future? We're talking about a Viksit Bharat 2047. How does your vision align with the India growth story?
Well, first of all, India is a humongous market with great, fantastic potential for domestic market, but also for the global market. So what we are doing currently is we are really leveraging India as a footprint in terms of domestic demand to cater to the Indian consumer in first place, which is also growing significantly over time and also in the future. At the same time, also leveraging India really as a hub for the globe, because what we are doing currently is we're developing cars mainly for the Indian audience in India, manufacturing cars in India. Also, we have engineers and a fully fledged global Nissan digital studio in India as well, which is serving the world. So you can already see we're using the market much more than purely domestic sales. We're using this market as a hub for the globe. So India growth story is really interesting for us, because you can see also how we are leveraging the market in India to really go beyond in terms of the our products we offer across the markets.
Okay. The geopolitical situation right now is such that, we've had tariffs going around and a lot of regulatory changes that are coming around. Do you see the Indian market and Nissan in India benefiting out of the current turmoil, so to say, that exists around the globe?
At this stage, probably a bit too early to comment, but I do see opportunities. And depending on the movement and the evolution of geopolitical trade discussions with multiple markets, I think there are some interesting opportunities Nissan has. Nissan has a global footprint across core.
You come with that experience.
Absolutely. So we have the experience, we have the platforms, we have the products, and we have the footprint in multiple markets. So depending on the evolution of those trade discussions, we have interesting opportunities to really leverage it for us in India.
For you. One of the, one discussion that has been at the epicenter of the auto industry is this whole E5, E10, E20, the ethanol. On one side, there is an argument that it reduces the efficiency. What is Nissan's outlook on E20? How are you adjusting, aligning with it, and what do you think regulatory norms should probably be for more consumer acceptance of this concept as such?
Now, I would say in terms of E20, first of all, our E20, our Nissan Magnite is E20 compliant. In fact, the HR 13 1-liter turbo engine since October 24, it's 100% E20 compliant. In fact, the BR10 naturally aspirated engine also compliant since February 25. Overall, we are catering to all the customers in terms of warranty and support. So we are fully confident on the E20 compliance of our cars. And that's something we welcome as well. That's a good step towards the future, and we cherish that.
Is it a good step in terms of the green the initiatives you mean? Is that what's the
ultimately there are multiple ways of moving towards a greener environment in a larger context. E20 is one element. The other one is around more efficient engines. The other one is around bringing electric cars to market. The other one is around reducing wastage in terms of the development manufacturing process. The other one is also in terms of multiple ways of using materials. I mean, all of this together is a summary of multiple initiatives to drive towards a green ecosystem.
At a time when there are so many fuel options available, we have diesel, we have CNG, we have EVs, we have petrol. What's your take on diesel powertrains?
Diesel powertrains, we can see the demand slowly declining. So we are focusing more towards petrol. Petrol, and of course towards the future, towards electrified solutions. So at this stage, we are not pursuing diesel powertrains as an immediate focus for us.
One of the important decisions, again, I mean, one was obviously E20, which has been, which we've already discussed. The another important decision was the GST rate cut, which obviously is expected to induce a lot of liquidity, especially at a time when we're just at the onset of a festive season. I have two questions. One, how does GST rate cut benefit you? One, from the point of view of purely selling a vehicle, or if I have to say that reduction of price in the GST in the price of Nissan Magnite, for example. And secondly, do you think that there could be an increased demand for the automobile sector because of the induced liquidity in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's two interesting questions, and I think they are very well connected to each other as well. Because with the GST revision, I think that's a very interesting and bold move as well. We can see the market coming back in a very positive way. We are just in the middle of festive season. The new GST norms have taken into effect. The new price have been released, and we can already see customers coming back into the shopping zone. That's very interesting, because on the one side, you have revised MSRP from a customer perspective, you have benefits in terms of registration and insurance, and of course, overall, you can see more customers having the affordability to get into the mainstream segments. Largely, you will see the growth similar to in the past as well. You will see it in the entry-level TIV segment, in the entry-level passenger car market, mainly from customers from two-wheelers, first-time buyers, getting into the entry-level segment. At the same time, they will also go to the used car segment as well, because even used car markets are equally following the trend of the new car segment as well. So and that's where the main change is coming, and we can feel that already. In fact, showrooms are getting much more traffic in terms of demand, and we can see customers coming back into the marketplace across OEMs, across markets.
Would you like to probably illustrate for our viewers the kind of change, that the rate change that GST has brought in one of your top-selling models. That's Magnite. Would you like to illustrate that for our
Yeah,
viewers?
in fact, we are giving 100% GST benefits to a customer.
Okay.
It's around 8 to 9% in terms of MSRP reduction. So
Okay.
we're giving we're passing on the full benefit to the end consumer. That's
Okay.
most important for us.
Okay.
And that's giving us the traction as well in terms of the consumer demand,
Okay.
in terms of inquiries, in terms of bookings, in terms of retail. Overall, you can see good momentum coming in line with the festive season.
Okay. What's with the GNCAP 5-star rating for the Nissan Magnite? What does it, how does it place you globally? How does it feel to have gotten that?
Well, this goes back to the previous discussion. In fact, the Indian consumer is one of the most demanding, no compromises, right? So we are developing cars which are high in terms of standard, in terms of quality, durability, and features, which means essentially we have developed a car absolutely looking at the Indian consumer and really developed a car which has really high level of safety standards. For example, we have 55 plus active passive safety standards, 6 airbags standard across every single variant we have.
Okay.
We got 5 GNCAP global NCAP rating,
Right.
which is tremendous, which makes it essentially the safest BSUV in the country.
Okay.
This is really strong, and this is again a proof point of if you do it right in the market, you have really good demand in the market. And plus, this is also the same car which is going globally now as well. In
Correct.
fact, last year when we launched the new Nissan Magnite, we have showcased the RHT version, the right-hand driven version, and the LHT version, and it's
Okay.
absolutely identical.
Okay.
Other than the steering wheel, it's
Okay.
absolutely same in terms
Okay.
of quality, safety, durability, everything same. So our Nissan Magnite, made in India, is now absolutely meeting international standards of 65 plus markets.
Wonderful. You briefly mentioned the used car market. Are the used car are used cars in any way a competition or so to say a challenge from a marketer's point of view?
Well, used car market is always a market which is separate and equally impacting every segment of the passenger TIV. That remains the situation across any market, same for us. From marketer perspective, no. I mean, we are not looking at that directly. Our main focus is, of course, new vehicles.
No, not from that point of view. As someone who's selling a brand new car, is a used car market a competition, so to say, that you need to overcome and convince the customer that no, these are the reasons you need to go for a brand new car?
Well, a customer who is inclined towards used car market usually is very clear in their mind in terms of going for a used car. So
Okay.
hence, of course, the mindset has been established. On our side, yes, we're considering that, but we are not too focused on that.
So what's with the brand association with Spinny?
So we have a partnership with Spinny,
Okay.
where we jointly collaborate with Spinny in terms of the exchange offer we give,
Okay.
and of course the processing of documents through Spinny as well. So there's a joint collaboration between us and Spinny.
Okay.
So customers can go into the Spinny portal
Okay.
and upload the documents, and the processing and the validation happens very quickly
Okay.
through Spinny as well. It's again part of the seamless customer experience we want to give to the customers,
Okay.
because Spinny is a very authorized, clear portal. They can go to the portal, upload the documents, and the processing is much more seamless. Again, it's to improve the customer experience at the end.
Okay. Going forward, I mean, looking ahead, what are some of the geopolitical policy-related decisions that are likely to give you tailwinds and help you towards putting Nissan on an already existing growth trajectory even further?
Yeah, I mean, anything which can help an OEM to further bring international products to the market would be beneficial, because it helps us to test consumer demand early in terms of development and planning. This can help us to bring cars faster to market, because if we can bring certain cars to the market easier, and we know there are certain duty levels in terms of import, but this will help us to gauge better consumer demand and of course then plan towards more localization and distribution to the customers.
Okay. Is there any percentage growth that you're looking at over the next foreseeable future? Are we talking numbers?
Yeah, I mean, today when we talk about Nissan this year, we're talking about 100,000. We just had 100,000 last year between domestic and export. And as you can imagine, when we are bringing now 3 more cars, because in the next 15 months, from 1 car will become 4 cars. We'll have 4 cars in the showroom. That's a tremendous growth. We're looking at minimum 3x plus in terms of growth. So you can see the magnitude of volume, and of course,
you're launching 3 cars in the next 4 months.
In the next 15 months.
In the next 15
months.
Okay, okay.
In the next 15 months, and that's the interesting part, because we are working on really expanding the footprint in terms of network.
Okay.
We're preparing the network in terms of upgrading network to have really space for 4 cars in the showroom. That's one point.
Right.
Other one is representation in key markets. The other one is having more footprint in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 markets.
Okay.
So overall, you can see our network expanding drastically from today 160 sales outlets to 200, 250, and at some stage 300 plus.
Okay.
That's the speed at which we are planning and discussing with new partners as well, existing and new partners both, to really expand and have that footprint in the market. Because these products are excellent, they're very exciting.
Okay.
We had some interesting consumer clinics as well,
Okay.
previous with our strong dealer partners, and the excitement is really high. And so we are very bullish.
Okay. Is India one of your topmost markets? I mean, it is priority definitely, but is it also one of your topmost markets in terms of numbers, global numbers?
In terms of numbers, as you can imagine, today we have one Magnite, and with one Magnite, it's a future
it's
market
already
for us.
dominating the market.
Definitely, in terms of the future, you can see a significant potential in India for Nissan globally, because it's one of the biggest TIV globally, one of the markets with the highest growth rate globally. And of course, here, the interesting part is we have a strong equity in terms of brand equity, in terms of the nameplate Nissan.
Yeah.
Today, we have one Magnite. But now when you see the new models coming in, or the new models, additional models coming in, we actually be able to serve the customers what they need with more models in multiple segments.
Okay.
In fact, we're getting into a natural habitat of the big SUVs also coming in.
Precisely.
Because Nissan has been known globally for over 90 years across the world.
Correct.
With all its iconic models. But here, we are actually bringing big, premium, aspirational, absolute Nissan cars to the market.
Okay.
And that's what's interesting. And because here the cars are completely developed locally and for the world.
Are any of these cars that you're launching based on the popular global models of Nissan? Do they have that kind of a footprint, so to say, of those models within these as well?
Two things. So first of all, the Nissan Magnite has been so successful because it has been designed across the Indian consumer. So that's a success formula why this car has been so popular. We've sold 200,000 cars plus since inception. And that itself is amazing for a car brand with one car. It's amazing. Of course, thanks to our strong dealer partner network as well. In the same mindset, we are developing cars completely around the Indian consumer in India. That's the number one priority. As I said, demand is high in terms of the expectations. The car will be incredibly exciting and competitive, and those will definitely have the Nissan DNA as well in terms of styling, in terms of tech. So yes, 100% Nissan, but also yes, 100% around the Indian consumer.
Curated for the Indian needs. Wonderful. Wonderful. Mohan, that's more or less of what we were looking for, actually, just to hear the whole Nissan story. And you've been with India for such a long, so many decades, and I think the next few decades promising to be exciting ones. Thank you very much for joining us on Republic TV.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thanks for having me here. Thank you, Arnab.
Thank you.